Hi everyone, I'm Tiffany. I wanted to take a minute and do a little tutorial video on how to do photo acrylic keychains using your own photos. I see all kinds of cool projects posted on the 651Vinyl Facebook group, but I rarely see any acrylic projects, and that's something I've really gotten into lately. So I kind of wanted to show people how to use these hidden gems that are also available through 651Vinyl. No, I'm not getting paid or anything. I just think these acrylics are a lot of fun and have had some questions on how I do them, so I wanted to take a minute and show you. I am using the Latte acrylic blank from 651Vinyl and also printable Starcraft adhesive vinyl. You can use other photo papers, but I really like the Starcraft adhesive printable because then it's just a sticker that I can peel and stick on my acrylic without having to worry about other glue or Mod Podge or anything. So to do a photo acrylic, you need the free SVG download that 651Vinyl provides. If you go to their website to blanks and acrylics, the first one that's listed on that page is the downloads for the SVGs, and they're organized by name alphabetically. So I already have my latte blank ready and also my photo in my uploads for the sake of time. So here's my latte and here's my photo. And I'm going to insert the images. You want to use the highest resolution possible on your photos, otherwise the print quality may not be what you're hoping for. So it's going to take a few extra seconds because the photo I'm using is a very high resolution. And I'll also need to size it down because as you can see when it drops the high res photo in, it's 20 inches wide and 27 inches tall, which obviously is way more than anything we could possibly need. So I'm going to force it down to, let's say, 5 inches tall, just to make it something more manageable. So there's my photo, and I might have to resize that even more here in a minute. But here's my latte blank that 651 provides. You don't want to mess with the shape of this as much as possible because it's already set to the dimensions of the acrylic blank that you receive. The only thing you might want to do, and something I've gotten in the habit of, is if I'm using resin or epoxy to seal my acrylic, I do scale it down slightly. Because what that does, let me show you here for a minute. So I just undid what I resized. This is the original. I'm going to copy and paste it so you can see what I'm doing here. If you're using epoxy or resin, you're going to want to leave an edge or a little lip on your blank so that it has something to adhere to and doesn't peel up later. So sometimes I'll actually size it down. So see how the yellow has the black lip around it? I might actually use the yellow as my photo so that when I apply it later, the acrylic has that edge that I can make sure the epoxy or resin adheres to. So you can play with that size to get it where you want it. I usually try to line the hole up so that that stays and then maybe stretch it down, something like that. So now I'm going to use my yellow for the rest of this project and just hide the black background. With this photo, I'm going to size it in because I'm going to try to get both the kiddos on it. And I'm going to bring my blank over and I'm going to place it on top. If when you get started you find that your SVG is in the back like this, just go to Arrange and send it to the front so that it's over your photo. And I'm just going to eyeball it to there. Now this works no matter what blank you get. You can use your SVG, your free download, and it will come with the shape you need, and you can place it over your photo the same regardless of shape. I just happen to have this one because I did a project recently with it, so I'm using it for the sake of demonstration. And then I'm going to choose the shape and the photo both and slice. Remember, if you choose the shape and your photo and the slice isn't lit up, you probably have more than 2 items selected. So check over here and make sure you only have 2. I'm going to slice. It's going to take a second because of the photo. And then I'm going to hide my shape and hide the excess photo. And all I'm left with is the picture. So again, to show you, if this is our, oops, wrong one. If this is our original shape as downloaded from 651, And I scaled this slightly, so I'm going to bring it over here. But this is how it's going to look on my blank, give or take a little bit there. So I still have the lip for my resin. I like to use UV resin, so I still have a lip around the edges for the UV resin to adhere. But now I have a photo. In this case, it's my niece and nephew that I'm going to put on a keychain. So I'm going to hide this. And what we're doing next is print and cut. So I'm going to click Make It. If you're not familiar with print and cut, on Cricut, it's always going to print this black box around whatever your project is. That's how the machine sees and gets its bearings as to where the rest of your shape appears. Like I said, I really like to use StarCraft adhesive printable vinyl, and you can do multiple cuts out of the same sheet. Just like on any traditional Cricut project, you can click and drag and move it around. So let's say I've already done something across the top third of this page. What I would recommend doing is peel your vinyl up, peel whatever's left. Don't cut the backing. Just peel the adhesive vinyl off and maybe take your scissors and cut across there to get rid of the excess that you've already used. That way your printer still sees an 8.5 by 11 sheet, but there are no black lines or anything to confuse the Cricut on your next go round. Hopefully that makes sense. So if I had already done this project, peeled it off, applied it, done everything, and still wanted to get some use out of this StarCraft, I could drag it down here and still feed my sheet through the printer and get some extra usage out of it. For now, though, I'm just going to leave it in this upper corner. Like I said, my machine isn't hooked up, so when I click continue, it's not going to see it, but I do want to show you some settings that you'll want to use. So I'm doing continue. If I've already printed and Design Space has a hiccup or something happens that I have to exit the program and come back, at this screen you can actually click I've already printed if you've already done so, and it will take you on to the screen where you choose what material you're cutting, your pressure, the usual that you're used to seeing. But for now, I'm going to send to printer. And there are a few settings here you want to take note of. There are a lot of print and cut projects where you don't want bleed on. In this case, I would recommend add bleed stays on. That gives a little bit of an extra edge to your project so that you're less likely to have a white edge when you apply it to your blank. I also like to use the system dialog, and I'll show you why here in a second. So I'm doing system dialog and print. And this is going to give me my traditional print screen that I'm used to seeing anytime I print elsewhere. This gives me the opportunity to tell it to print to the best of its ability. I have a Canon TS, I think it's a 9020 Pixma printer. They're really good for photos. Some printers will have these settings and some won't. I know some Epsons don't have photo options. But if I click on my preferences on my Canon, I can ask it to print photo quality. I can change my media type. You can print on glossy photo paper, but for the StarCraft printable adhesive, at least I don't know if it comes in glossy, but I have the matte version, and I just tell it matte photo paper. Print quality high. I'd be using an 8.5 by 11 sheet of StarCraft, and I like to put it in the rear tray so it doesn't necessarily get mixed up with the paper and I risk printing on something I don't want to. Basically, the goal here, if your printer has these type of settings, is to get it to print the highest quality possible. If you don't have all of these settings, maybe you just have draft, standard, and best. Make sure to put it on best. That's going to give you the best chance of a real sharp photo. Then I'd print, and it would print on my adhesive vinyl. But like I said, I'm not going to go through all those extra steps. This is just to show you the slice process so that you can use your own photos on your acrylics. But once it's printed, you would just place it on your mat and send it through your printer like you normally would. One thing to note, if you try to do print and cut, whether it's a photo project like this or any other print and cut, if it doesn't print where it's supposed to, or it prints off the edge or somewhere that it's not supposed to, make sure to go up to your settings and run a calibration. It will walk you through all the steps. That will help make sure it's reading that black box and the edges of your project correctly. So just to recap, if you want to use your own personal photos on acrylic blanks to make keychains or ornaments or anything that 651Vinyl offers, it's just a matter of having your photo and the free SVG download shape. Again, be careful altering the shape unless you're sure it's what you want to do, because the shape you download, this black one, is already set to the exact dimensions of the acrylic blank you purchased. If anything, you might want to scale it down slightly if you're using epoxy or resin, so that your resin has a lip to adhere to and the photo doesn't peel off later. But other than that, it's just a matter of placing your shape over your personal photo and slicing. Hopefully you found this useful, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch. Thanks 651 Vinyl for being such an awesome company. We appreciate you.